Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Prime Minister Andrew Holness calls for multi-pronged approach to deal with Haitian crisis. We want our money. Funeral directors threaten to withdraw service in government contracts. And later in sports, JFF and reggae girls at loggerheads. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shane Masters, and here are the details. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has reiterated his call for international assistance to deal with the humanitarian and security crises which is unfolding in Haiti. Over 5.2 million people in the country have been facing hardships due to natural disasters, and that number is increasing with the security concerns which have upended the leadership of the country. Speaking at a special meeting of the UN Economic and Social Council focused on addressing the urgent food security needs of Haiti this morning, Mr. Holness made a strong call for more to be done to help the country.
The need for action is urgent and compelling and requires concerted attention. Madam President, the multifaceted Haitian crisis requires multi-pronged, multinational responses, and we need to work on all fronts at the same time. While the political challenges need attention, we must also address the immediate needs of the population. It is of serious concern that humanitarian agencies, due to insecurity, have been prevented from clearing shipments and delivering well-needed assistance. The resulting vulnerability and weakened resilience have contributed to conditions for ongoing crime. We must break this vicious cycle.
Funeral directors who are contracted by the government are again threatening to withdraw their services if the over $100 million owed to them is not paid. They told TVJ News that the funds have been owed to them for over 6 years, and despite numerous attempts to have the funds paid over, the government continues to hold them at ransom. Director of Lynn's Funeral Home, Calvin Lynn, says a letter was even sent to Prime Minister Andrew Holness in May, but up to June 12, there was no reply.
But it shouldn't be sent that far, because the responsible people do know and accept that they owe us the money. So why is it that they are taking so long and we are not being paid any interest? The collective figure for the 9 of us is approximately $100 million.
Mr. Lynn says at least one of the funeral homes has some 50 bodies that will not be buried until the government pays over the requisite funds.
We are taking this opportunity to call on the powers that be, please pay us. Our patience has run out.
But there's a bigger issue at play. According to director of Bent's Funeral Home in St. Elizabeth, Roxia Bent, it's not clear which department is responsible for paying them.
It's both the forensic lab and the Ministry of National Security to whom we are responsible. We are contracted to those two bodies. Forensic lab, as far as they're saying, their responsibility ends when the postmortem is done. So I think more than likely it would be the Ministry of National Security, but we have nothing like that in writing to say, okay, I am responsible for paying you for these. So we are just holding them on. We really don't know.
Head of the Portland Police has raised concern about an increase in rapes in the parish, particularly of young girls. At the latest municipal corporation meeting, Superintendent Lord Darby urged adults to do a better job of keeping their children safe, even as he noted an increase in other major crimes, especially robberies. Krista Campbell has the details.
As public outcry grows over an increase in crimes against children in Jamaica, head of the Portland Police, Superintendent Lloyd Darby, has raised concerns of his own. At the latest municipal corporation meeting, he pinpointed one crime of concern in Portland.
We are seeing a lot of sexual offenses being committed against young girls, 13, 14, 12. Babies, 8-year-old.
And noting the perpetrators are usually people the children know, Superintendent Darby is urging adults who are responsible for children to be extra vigilant.
We appeal to the citizens, the caregivers, the guardians, the parents to exercise the proper control of these children, who they leave the children with. Make sure they are trusted persons. Make sure they keep in touch with the children to see what they are going through and to create that atmosphere that they can talk to them and warn them of the dangers out there.
Meanwhile, there's another concern for the Portland police.
We see a trend where young girls are engaged in sexual activities, and there are times when we believe that they are caught and they will say rape to escape whatever parental punishment will come.
Of the other major crimes which have been on the increase up to June 3 this year compared to the same period last year, he says robberies are a problem.
We all know of that spate of robberies in March, that persons went around and robbed bars. We arrested 4 persons for 4 incidents, and since then, we have had only 1 incident of robbery.
He says police patrols will continue in the space. Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
Experts are growing increasingly concerned about the negative effects the changing climate could have on the health of humans. Several stakeholders gathered in St. Andrew recently to discuss the issue. The details in this report from Dwayne Anderson.
A Texas shoreline covered with dead fish. The fish died due to a shortage of oxygen in the water. It's an ecological disaster blamed on climate change. Experts warn disasters like these will get more frequent, including in Caribbean islands, if policies not put in place to correct the effects of climate change. It is why it is hoped some of these young leaders across the Caribbean will help to influence climate policy. The young professionals were certified in climate change and health policy as part of a fellowship involving UWI, PAHO, and other organizations.
One of the recommendations coming out of the project that we did last year during the fellowship was recognizing the fact that there was the need for this sort of increased sensitization in the community. So the youth, they came up with the ideas for us to continue working with the youth. So we have a series of activities that's going to run for this year as well as take us into next year. And it's all about building that sort of awareness at the community level when it comes to climate change and health. And we're looking at it in terms of the youth empowering and engaging other youth in this sort of action.
The focus on health in climate change discussions has become increasingly important, as it is feared climate change will have a bearing on the progression of viruses and diseases, which could cut some people's lives short.
Climate change is going to have a severe effect on people's health, and we need these multidisciplinary professionals to be in place across our region to bring policies into place and to work in communities to support those communities so they can adapt and make themselves less vulnerable to climate change in the future.
Professor Christopher Ora is a tropical medicine specialist. He's based at the UWI St. Augustine campus, and he reasoned the message about climate change and its implications for health should be taken to students at some of the earliest levels.
I definitely think there's a real need to bring information on climate change and its links to health in our school curriculums, in our primary school curriculums, in our secondary school curriculums, and in our university curriculums. And that's not just our medical curriculums, all our curriculums. Our youth are the future, and our youth are the ones that are going to have to actually are going to be here when the effects of climate change, the most serious effects of climate change, are with us. So they have to understand the consequences.
The participants in the Climate Change and Health Fellowship are from 16 different territories in the Caribbean. Dwayne Anderson, TVJ News.
Normalcy has returned to the Yalas Health Center after scores of upset parents showed up demanding that the conditions at the health center be addressed. Karen Simpson tells us more.
Scores of parents showed up at the child clinic at the Yalis Health Center Thursday morning in protest. It's understood they were told that the nursing staff was not working due to concerns they had about a fan and a desk. The parents say this has been ongoing for the past 3 weeks.
The babies them cannot get through today at the clinic. There is no table for the scale to be on to weigh the babies. The babies cannot get their vaccine. There is no fan. This is just not good. We have to be rescheduling every time, 3 weeks in a row.
They also complain that it has been costly.
Some of us have to go to work. Some of us can't find the fare to really come back. So we are also having a problem.
People have to work. People cannot be coming to the clinic every week, just like that. It costs. Some of us don't even have job.
One parent argues that more attention needs to be given to the parish.
They said we are the left out parish and we are tired of being left out. We left out in health, we left out in light, we left out in housing, we left out in even the road.
Our news center contacted medical officer for the parish, Dr. Doane Smith, who confirmed that there was a challenge with a desk and a fan, and so services were delayed while the situation was being resolved. Dr. Smith, however, dismissed the claims by parents that the nurses withdrew their services. He insisted that the parents were addressed and asked for their patience. He says the situation has since been resolved and a more definite solution is to be implemented. Carrie-Ann Simpson for TVJ News.
The St. Catherine South Police is seeking 4 men from Newlands in Portmore to help in their investigation into the physical assault of a student of Cumberland High School in the municipality yesterday. They are Jamil, otherwise called Ayers, from Power Lane, a man known as EJ, also from Power Lane, OD from Hardware Lane, and Okra from Rosemary Lane. The men are being asked to immediately report to the Portmore CIB. Members of the public with information can call Crime Stop at 311. The 16-year-old student was also stabbed during the attack, which occurred about 3 o'clock on Cumberland Drive. He is reported in stable condition at hospital. The attack was captured on video. Operations Officer for the St. Catherine South Police, Superintendent Hopton Nicholson, says the incident stemmed from a dispute among students.
Students had a dispute prior to Thursday, and this incident on Thursday involved persons from the community who are not affiliated with the school, where this child was attacked as a reprisal.
Now, Superintendent Nicholson says the police met today with school administrators and representatives of the Ministry of Education at Cumberland High. And it's time for the Business Minute.
The Tourism Ministry says Jamaica is expected to see a double-digit increase in summer visitor arrivals, with projections exceeding the record year 2019. During a meeting this week with stakeholders at Delta Vacations in the United States, representatives from the Tourism Ministry indicated that 1.4 million airline seats have been secured for the summer travel season. This represents a 16% increase over 2019. 1.2 million of those seats are set to leave the United States. Senior strategist in the Tourism Ministry, Delano Seavright, says compared to last year, Jamaica should see a more than 30% improvement in summer visitor arrival.
Already, according to one of the largest and most respected travel data analytics firms, Forward Keys, we have summer travel bookings running 33% ahead of 2022 summer travel bookings. And this is further reflected in the very high load factors for flights in and out of Jamaica over the summer of 90%. So we are happy with this development, and the Delta Vacations assessments are in full line with the really strong growth trajectory that we're seeing for the summer.
The Bank of England is set to raise interest rates by a quarter point to a 15-year high of 4.75% on June 22. This is its 13th straight rate rise. BOE Governor Andrew Bailey told a Parliament committee on Tuesday inflation was taking a lot longer than expected to come down, and the labour market was very tight. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Herman Green.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, says approximately 3 million children in Haiti require humanitarian assistance due to unprecedented levels of violence that have increased hunger and malnutrition in the country. UNICEF says children are being killed or injured on their route to school, while women and girls are subjected to terrible sexual assault. However, despite limited funds, UNICEF says it's increasing its activities and extending its presence in the field, providing critical assistance. On the international scene, at least 15 people have died after a truck collided with a bus carrying senior citizens in a rural part of Canada's Manitoba province. The vehicles were heading in the opposite directions when, upon reaching an intersection, the semi-trailer hit the bus. Another 10 people have been taken to hospital. And more than 50 million people across the United States are under severe weather warnings a day after a storm wreaked havoc in Texas and Florida. 3 people were killed as a tornado ripped through Perryton, Texas on Thursday. The storm reportedly sent up to 100 people to the hospital with injuries ranging from head wounds to abrasions, while 1 person died in Florida after becoming trapped beneath a tree that fell on their home. According to radar estimates, up to 16 inches of rainfall fell overnight, with more forecast for Friday. A flash flood warning is in effect for the area. And those are the top regional and international stories. I'm Carrie Ann Simpson.
And we head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.